In the last exercise, we talked about creating a new drawing standard. In this exercise, I'm going to go through a little bit more detail here on setting it active, but this isn't going to take very long because it's a pretty simple procedure. Inside of our styles and standard editor, we have, remember, all of our styles that make up our standard. Now, by default, you have this one ANSI standard. If you need to create a new standard, remember we always make a copy of the original before we modify it. And when we get done, we can just double click on the standard that we want to set active. You also can right click and say activate. If it's the active standard, you cannot purge it out or delete it. So if I say new style, I'll just let it be this copy. Andy's still the active style. See, I can go through and purge it. The active style cannot be purged. I don't think the default one can be purged either. Or if it's used in the drawing, it can't be purged. You can go through and purge all of the substyles. So basically all of the new stuff that you created that you've never used. Once you activate it, you save it into your template, or you can import it into the active drawing and then activate it, and these styles will be activated. Now with that said, it doesn't mean that everything will automatically change. A lot of objects such as dimensions and text and leaders and things like that will change based on the active drawing style, but there are a lot of objects that won't automatically change drawing styles. That will just allow it to be activated, and then once you do new stuff, it'll automatically, but anything old that's already there will be by its old style. So if I hit done here, and I come in here and look at this whole note, for example, under the annotate, you see that it's still set to the default -millimeter ANSI instead of the default Andy. That's because it doesn't automatically change. Now, if I did want to come in here and change these, I could come in here and hold down Shift, select Andy, and now these are set to the new style. The other option would be to delete everything and recreate. You know, there's not a whole lot of dimensions on this particular drawing. You can go through and delete them all. If you have changes to things like center lines or line types or anything like that, it's easy to go in there and you can update them if possible. Inside of the Manage tab, you do see that there is a way to update styles. So it synchronizes what's out on your server with what's in your local drawing. And once again, this doesn't automatically go through and update the actual current created objects. So it's a little confusing, I know. But in other words, you need to create your styles early on. You need to create a drawing standard of those, and then you need to set that active. Once you do that, going forward, everything you create will be created with that. And if you need to go back and add this new style to an old drawing, then you'll need to go back to each object and add it to it individually. Some objects, such as the dimensions and things like that, are easy to just change over, select it and change the style. Some objects such as tables and things like that, you may actually have to delete the table and recreate it. There are some objects that just will not update. So if you change the style and you don't see anything update, that's why it's just not an updatable object. You have to recreate it. If you need to change something such as a revision table, let's say, and you have a lot of information in there already, you have a bunch of revisions in here, you don't want to delete that. What you can do is you can come into this individual object and edit this particular table's revision style. So if I've gone through and created new drawing styles for this, remember I don't like zone, I don't like approved, I can come in here and actually edit this one and remove out the individual stuff. So even though I changed the style, you see that it didn't change the drawing. But I can come in here and manually override this and get it kind of the way I want it so it looks like the others without actually having to delete it. So a lot of things you can manually change if you need to. But like I said, if it's the beginning, if it's pretty early on, it's easier just to delete and start over so that it will be to the newest style. So play with it. See what you can change with styles. See what you can change with drawing standards by activating the new standard. And kind of keep this in the back of your mind more than anything as you go on and you start creating your CAD standard for your company.